Oh, I'm live now? You sure? Sorry, that wasn't directed at you. It was directed at Tubu and or my computer and or my internet. It was doing that like circle thing for like ever. And I'm not really bothered or confused by it. But that doesn't mean it's not going to get my sass. Hi, it's me. And my name is Elliot. In case this is your first time joining me, uh, that's my name. And I can't hear your name per se, but I can hear your name other ways. So, for the sake of it, hi, my name is Elliot. And would you do me the honor and a little bit of pleasure by telling me your name? Just saying it out loud to me. I'll even like look into the camera so we can like do that whole thing. Thanks. I know it's silly, but I want to say, have you met me? And if you haven't, then par for the course. And if you have, then I don't think we've ever done this before. So it's nice. It's nice to finally know your name. This is, I've been going pretty deep these last few days as far as coming out of my hermit crab shell and sharing with you things that are maybe closest to my heart. I mean, that's not different, but I want to talk to you about the essential underpinnings. If by essential I can connotate essence, sometimes referred to as maybe some spiritual. I want to shy away from that word as a general term and in community learn to use it more specifically as an aspect of reality, like light and soul, spirit. So spiritual as a word, unless you're speaking of like you would use spiritual as bloody, referencing something that has blood all over it or something. Right? It's a little gross, but not really. It's really not at all. It's weird how we've been conditioned. Anyways, because like of marriage and the relationship between men and women, but as it pertains to marriage and the relationship between a husband and a wife. Now, my preface of the kind of the essence of the art of that relationship is in part due to just like disclaiming and recognizing that I'm not married. I have not been married. And one day I'll be married. Of that, I'm 100% certain, which is nice. And to be fair, I've pretty much always been 100% certain, except when I have been in like those pits of despair where I'm just not certain of anything good, but I still believe. And why it can be especially tender of a thing to discuss is I my parents divorced when I was quite young, and I can in my self-awareness, like my persona, and my life is like Elliot here, that was a fairly defining circumstance of my character and my life experience. The further away it got, the less defining. But it defined a lot along the way, and I'll never really forget it, because really beautiful and cosmically appropriate like lessons and values have been earned and won, and I will forevermore give credence and reverence and love to like our great like spiritual soul bodies, and by ours I mean like my mom's and my dad's, for their and our like sacrifice towards suffering, so that we can know it and then unsew it. But be grateful that we need not ever experience it, such as that. Really, again, if we continue to, with presence and potency, to instill and infuse not the consequences, if not like a deterrence through fear or weariness, but to accent and especially caretake for the qualities and choices that we can make about ourselves and each other in relationship, especially as it pertains to husband and wife, as like I'm speaking to, and in all relationships. Like I said, this is a personally tender point of conversation. And I'm recognizing between us that it's like a culturally sensitive point of conversation, because I have no doubt that in your own way, you can relate like all the way to my experience, right? Maybe really closely by circumstance, or maybe, you know, your parents didn't split up. Maybe you, in comparison and relativity, had really fucking phenomenal parents, and compared to like your friends and other people in like your greater family and whatnot, like you really won the parent lottery. Then I want to offer, and why I'm bothering sharing like kind of this on this platform, because I don't know, I'm careful as far as like considerate to not just say things that lots of other people have said, because you'll find it's elsewhere. If you can receive that kindly and like non-arrogantly or something like that, because I just heard the words and that's not what I mean, but whatever. I'm just going to move on. Thanks for being patient with me. The world is not structured for parenting, and we're restructuring it. But even the idea of a good parent in this world is not a good parent, and it's no one's fault. I'm also going to really like lay that in now. And it's no one's fault. It's no one to blame. That's not useful unless you think so. And then I encourage you, like I would encourage myself, like I have, to suss that out. Go inward until you can relieve other of that faultedness and blamedness. And that I'm not the guy that's like relieving of those things and then being like, all's good. Like you were shitty, but I understand it's not your fault. All can be forgiven, but like I've kind of probably touched on, I'm not a big fan of forgetting. And character is as character does. And like I was maybe the bush people, you know, in the jungles, in the deserts. Maybe there's some good parents there because their culture hasn't been so fucking sideswiped and flipped so as to totally just remove that from the true possibility. But even then, like how real, that's not real either. Not all of us are living out in the jungle or the desert or mountaintops or anything like that. So even them in their like seclusion are living a fictional environment of family. And I mean, that's what this is all about. Life, I reckon. Part of my inspiration for this post came from something that I read. Yeah, in a book. I'm just, as a side note, I'm at this time revisiting a lot of my like Oriental studies, traditional Chinese medicine, and like Japanese culture, myth, wisdom. I just call it kind of Oriental wisdom. I studied a year full time shiatsu, so it's like 1,000 hours, something like that. I didn't like graduate with any kind of certificate, but it was one of the most thorough programs in North America, actually the world, but you just say that and that means nothing. With a lot of programs being certified at like 200, 300, and most commonly between 500 and 700. So I didn't graduate with like a thing, but I graduated with a thing, you feel me? And I was actually drawn into, my soul like tugged me in that direction because of the like the medicinal, energetic, elemental aspect. And I think if I were to go back there, and I know it was like I was intrigued by this methodology that wasn't derived by wasn't derived hypothetically or theoretically, but entirely observationally. It's like there's no such thing as liver, there's no such thing as bladder, there's no such thing as any of these things except by what we're seeing and observing and how we like interact with the phenomena, and then we give them names, and then through that process they developed like a connection, a relationship with their environment. And to me that's more real than like Western science at all, because Western science likes to, and medicine, which is like, you know what I mean, likes to pride itself ignorantly really on being observational, except it's not observational. It's like surface seeing and then dictating and certainty creating, but just illusions thereof. I've studied lots of shit thoroughly, and just about every law, be it of physics or medicine or whatever, once like looked into, is actually a theory. You know, it's like, but then they'll use it as law and reference it as law as like as an unchangeable, like fundamental and certain. But like it's so uncertain, I can't stand. It's being pulled out of me. Uh, any frame of reference that can't accept, I don't know, and then keep bringing it to the forefront when it's important, and maybe also accepting I don't know is also accepting that you might if you keep going, and that nothing is unknowable, only just unchosen. So, anyways, I'm I weave between my different areas of study to facilitate my own multidimensional growth, and Tai Chi, Qigong specifically, and then the meridians and all that stuff, energy, has been coming back into my like learning awareness, and it's been a lot of fun. And so I read this, and it's from the. I'm going to try and say this like the Nejing, Nejing. In English, we might read it like Neijing, but I think the pronunciation is a little bit more like like Nejing, something like that. It's brief, so here it is. And the whole thing's it's pretty. So, and really, 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 really like esoterically witty and on point. Heaven is round and earth is square. The roundness of the head and squareness of the earth resonate accordingly. Heaven has the sun and moon. Humans have 2 eyes. Earth has 9 provinces. Humans have 9 orifices. Heaven has thunder and lightning. Humans have sound and speech. Heaven has wind and rain. Humans have joy and anger. Heaven has 5 musical sounds. Humans have 5 yin organs. Heaven has winter and summer. Humans have cold and hot. Heaven has yin and yang, and humans have husband and wife. Earth has 12 rivers. Humans have 12 meridians. Heaven has morning and evening. Humans go to sleep and awake. Earth has times of no crops, so humans can be childless. In these ways, heaven and earth resonate with humans. There's 2 interesting things I'm going to point out, and then we'll continue. The one that I'm not going to really speak to, but it's clever, yeah? Well, first, let's set like the precedent. Heaven has winter and summer. Humans have cold and hot. So there's like this connects to that. Heaven is round, earth is square. The roundness of the head, squareness of the earth, accordingly. They don't emphasize this because this is like you have to see the spaces in between also to kind of make these dots. And then heaven has morning and evening. Humans go to sleep and awake. So morning, sleep, evening, awake. That's one layer. But then go to. So heaven has morning and evening. It has it. Humans go to. So in the morning, humans go to sleep. And in the evening, humans go to awake. And then speaking to the topic today, it's night for you, I guess. Heaven has yin and yang, and humans have husband and wife. Husband, yin, wife, yang. This book is The Web That Has No Weaver. it could easily be the first book anyone ever wants, anyone can read if they're interested in kind of understanding Chinese medicine and the whole realm and the world or whatever. It's super gentle. It's written really well by Ted Kaptchuk. Excellent book. Husband yin, wife yang. This is very important because we are at this time of emergence, of like truth emergence. We are revealing, which is like reveiling, except the veil isn't supposed to hide anything. It's just like a curtain. And when, like a theater, you pull it back to do the show, you bring it back when the show's over, but like you're not hiding anything, revealing. In our world of this and that, and the illusions of opposites being unconnected, men are yang, women are yin. And then all the like the other qualities. In case you're like yin yang, all you know is a symbol for that. Then like, I'm really impressed in like, I mean that sincerely, not facetiously, that you and I have found each other in this medium, because it's really kind of philosophical and esoteric and pertinent, this concept of masculine and feminine. So you must be like really, there's a really wow quality to you to not have that in your toolkit, but all the other things you must have. P.S. That applies to anyone, obviously. But in my experience, my like ultra examined experience, the qualities that are given to yang, quick, loud, bright, light, assertive, action-taking, penetrating. That's like every girlfriend I've ever had. You know what I mean? Like, but like, and I mean that reverently. Like, it's what I like. And in relationship, and balanced, I'm the rock. I'm the steady. I'm the dark, silent, heavy. You know, the receptive. There's like the whole action taking in one way or another. In balance, I don't know if you like. I don't know if you're a guy. If you're a guy, you're gonna be like, "Fuck yeah, bro, I get it." And if you're a woman, then I'm just asking you basically to think of, like, yo, I don't really ever want to do shit. You know, like, yeah, I'm super good to just chill, yo. Whereas, like, I don't know, I've never known a girl like your idea of like chilling is my busy. And this is blessed. Now, does that mean all things that are yin are really the masculine, male gender aspect, and all things that are yang are really, and there's just one flip that's been inverted and like so confused? Fuck no, that's too simplistic. But part of the disharmony in the relationship between all things is the loss of the recognition of spheres of influence where we treat people and relationships differently depending on the needs as like cultivated by the spirits, the spirits that are chosen. And now I want to get a little bit more specific. So obviously, like sex, the male is penetrating the female with their genitalia. The female is receiving the male with their genitalia. So there's that yin yang aspect. Okay, sure. But just because that it's on that, like that's occurring there, doesn't mean well, think of a spiral. And if you're familiar with astrology, then you can also think of it in this way too. Like, I know it looks like a circle, but it's a spiral. It's always moving forward. But in the always moving forward, there appears to be this top and there appears to be this bottom, but they're not separate. And what was at the top goes to the bottom and is represented by space or the next peak, because when it's at the bottom, something else is on the top, right? So in astrology, why I reference that is when planets go retrograde. And they're not literally going backwards, but by appearance, their relationship with like they're giving off of light shifts. It's taking its own breath. Inhale, exhale. Left foot, then right foot, then right foot, then left. Like, sorry, I'm left-footed or right-footed because I'm left-handed, anyways. Also, interestingly, I don't know how it appears on your screen, but this is my left hand. But I'm looking at me, and if I were to like that would be my right hand. Does that make sense? That's part of the fuckery, and that's part of the confusion of mixing up left and right, mixing up husband and wife. Now, I'm going to close up on the yin yang aspect, and then we're going to move on to etymology, and then divine truth, and maybe closing with something like potentiality. Before the sex act, as far as the yin yang, there is, I'm not going to say courting. No, I will say courting, and I'm going to redefine it because dating is not a thing. Finding someone is not a thing. We're all destined to be with our choices. And that's it. I don't want to touch too much because all of this is super sensitive. And I really invite you to continue to develop anything that I might say as an inspiration, especially if you don't agree. Like, because I'm not asking you to agree with me on anything. That's not conversation. And a shortcoming of this platform. In the courting process, part of societal dysfunction is that men seek out women. Okay? We hit on you guys. And you basically defend against us until in like our best attempt at balance, it just so happens that, yeah, no, we both like each other. This isn't work. Let's just have fun and hang out. Or there's like a power struggle of like basically manipulation and authority. Who has the power? Who gets to say yes? Who gives permission? But that's not right. And I'm not saying that women are chasing men either. That's not courting. There's no chasing. Okay. But men are women's choice, not the other way around. Like, and if I were to, I'm this way. I revere people, and what sounds like embellishment or flattery is just my every opportunity taken to go deep with sincerity and kindness to describe the truth of like beauty and love and awesomeness. So I'm going to actually steer away from that because we're dealing with something that I love, women, and something that I've had to learn to love, men. So I'm going to try and keep my own emotional bias towards being quite vocal in my offering appreciation. So, and I say that because anything now that I do say, I'm saying intentionally as an aspect of like the explanation or the description. Women are just better. What I mean is by virtue of being like the womb takers, right? The caretakers, and there's a little bit of the dynamic of as a man, I can have 3 children at the same time if I impregnate 3 different women. A woman can only have 1 child at a time, obviously. But when she's pregnant, she can really make love to as many men as she wants. I never really thought of that before in this reference, but I'm just offering comparison. And there's no good or bad or anything like that. However, right, it's not very effective for a man to impregnate 3, 4, just more than 1 woman at a time. Not in like a community, not in a family unit, not individually. It's just, that is, if you're going for like best on like a path of progression, that is away from best. As such, especially and like overcoming our only animalistic instincts, and over our like the pleasure that we get from making love, which is a little bit also like cursed in our world because we're so removed from all kinds of just natural pleasure, like the ground, the real ground underneath our feet, not our shoes, fresh air, no roofs, fucking farm to table, eating with our hands, all this sitting instead of squatting. Like there's so much that takes away from our pleasure that like we've become numb and desperate. So sex, not even consciously, and not even like evilly, but again, essentially is kind of really kind of out of abuse risen to this ask of like orgasm, of like cosmic unity, and like the need that isn't being satisfied. Like I get cosmic unity from sun gazing, you know? But sun gazing is not only unfamiliar to 99.9 something peoples of the world, but it's also been erroneously like tagged as like it'll kill you. The sun is this thing that's trying to kill you, when it's opposite. But if you run from something long enough, when you're finally exposed to it, you don't know what to fucking do with it and it hurts, but it doesn't kill you. in that way, uh, a woman chooses a man. Also, in health and wellness, in community and culture, there is no separation between the awareness of the divine necessity, opportunity, the gift of child rearing, and that there is no baby, no child that can be, that isn't taken care of. That's part of like the mammalian choice of like our genetics, of our like our energetic origins in these forms. Is it's rare and few and far between that anything in nature has to love something or it'll die. And that with such urgency. So a man never forgets his origin. He never forgets where he came from, and it's always all around him. So the mother, like you don't chase that, you don't hunt that, you chase and hunt food. And courting is like our courtyard. It's where you meet before you decide to go into the temple. And then ultimately, it's the like the woman that chooses, that penetrates the like phase of relationship, right? From just another like member of like the greater family as tribe, towards like I'm choosing you. I'm choosing you to be like, I'm choosing you to be in me. And that doesn't, and the dysfunction of it, and the disharmony in our world, that isn't just a loss for the woman. Everything that affects one gender affects the other in that same fucked up way. All right? Because, and if, now if you're a woman, I don't need to tell you, and if you're a man, you've got to learn. Right? We're not good at it. We're not good at that at all. We're not good at choosing. We're not good at being the one that like has to figure that shit out. We're horrible at that. Like, we don't know. Especially with like the lack of or the removal rather of like our naturalness from you and us and each other and everything. Like, we've like, no, I don't. I'm just gonna follow your lead. Like, getting a little personal with you, right? Every time I've had sex, it's been a little like, this is me on the inside. Sweet. like, okay. Not like, yeah, like obviously, or I'm getting what I want. It's like, sweet. Like, I'm gonna have sex with you? It's way good. Let's do it. Right? Like, it's like, awesome. I didn't like put my foot in my mouth enough. There's like tons there, but I'll leave it on and we'll move on a little bit. And then post now moving kind of more away from just the yin yang aspect of like the disharmony, but transitioning after the penetration, then there's like the gestation where, yo, like in the relationship of a pregnant, of a pregnant, like mother and her husband, I'm going to just use that word. Who's yang and who's yin there? Right? Like, it's like up until conception, not conception, conceiving, conception, conceiving, birth. Like, mama's calling the shots, mama's taking the action, like all the necessity action, right? And basically, like it's the bright, the sun, the light, the fierceness, right? And P.S. like as far as like men and women, fucking yang, women are the fighters. Women are the warriors. Women are the ones that are fucking tough as nails, right? Men are the caretakers. Like if you just want to be general, and it's taken hundreds of years of deception and lies and biological hijacking and social reconditioning to convince us of otherwise. But like, men are the strong ones and women are the toughest fucking nails ones. First of all, yeah. And I'm not deigning to that. Well, women have to give birth, so pain tolerance bullshit. No, women have to tolerate men. Right? And so basically, like, your pain threshold's higher because otherwise it would hurt too much when you're pulling your own hair out of us. How are you so stupid? It's like, I don't know. But physical strength, like think of it, yin yang. Men are bigger, women are stronger. Men may be faster, but women can go longer. What are we talking about, Ellie? What are we talking about? We just started first. It's like teamwork, all right. I can't help it. I'm goofy. Okay. So then we've got the flip again. So the yang and then the yin. And then after the birth, like mama's yin, daddy's yang. And it matures like that in balance and unity until, and like everything and anything, truly, anything and everything on a spectrum with itself inevitably intertwines, integrates, and becomes something eventually so differentiated from what it was when they first met that it's not that you become the other person. You become someone that couldn't be that someone, but it's someone that you want to be because you chose this, you chose your circumstance, you chose your life alongside another someone. And so the yin yang, until eventually there's almost like the flipping of the yin yangs become so subtle, and then together the husband and wife kind of become their own singular yin and yang in terms of different environments, because now they're not separate. And that is where we'll go next, is marriage. There's no fault or blame in divorce or just finding ourselves in like fucked up relationships. And this This is everything to do with greater cycles of occlusion, deception, and like greater cosmic opportunities for learning, right? Like you can only know as much joy as you know suffering, like, and we fucking have learned suffering, haven't we? So let's just like do away with the blame and the thing or anything. There's no, you can't, you like whoever you are, wherever you're from, and whatever's next to you, it couldn't really be any other way. And the ways that it could be different are like minute. And when it comes to husband and wife and marriage, um, like I said in the beginning, like you, that's been attacked. It might very well be just the first thing that was attacked to take us away from ourselves. So it's like that one aspect of truth rippled outwards has created so much suffering. And it would, wouldn't it? Because divorce is not a thing. Being stuck with someone is also not a thing. And not knowing a person until you go to school together or wherever we meet these supposed partners, whatever, it's all bent on so much falsity. And then we're not allowed to be a husband, we're not allowed to be a wife in the world, right? Parenting, like stay at home this, stay at home that. That's all so fucked. And detrimental is like not even strong enough a word to our cohesion and our truth. And why I mention it is that without recognizing that, really specifically, we can't move from disharmony to harmony. Without recognizing the truth of how unreal the fiction of what basically the lie about marriage, about husband and wife, has been and is like shoved down our throats via the programming. So my TV's over this programming. One of the stupidest things to me, no judgment, I'm like, this is like to me, from me, for me, one of the stupidest things has always been like, how do I know I'm going to love that person forever? Because for me, everyone that I've ever loved in that way has easily been forever. That's almost been like the only quality by which I like discern like relationship potential, even if I know that we're not going to be together forever. And it's like, well, Elliot, how did you know that? Okay, I'm really actually speaking of one relationship in particular where she was about 12 years older than me. And I say that I knew that we weren't going to be together. Be damn right, better believe that I also didn't know that. And there were times where I certainly wouldn't. I certainly would wish that we would be together forever. And I saw no reasonable obstacle to that truth. Right. So how do you know you're going to love someone forever? Love is forever. It's there. It's like, I don't love you anymore. Isn't a thing. It's not a thing. If you don't love someone anymore, you never really loved them in the first place. And that's okay. Because love as a concept has been horrifically hijacked. We're not taught about love. In fact, I was watching something. It was a dude was interviewing. I think his name is like Mantak Chia. He's like a Taoist, like a Taoist master, and he's talking about chi, and he, it's like, it's like something like that we can't really, like that we know is there. Oh, that's right, because he's talking about the elements, and it's like wood, fire, water, metal, earth, and there's like he's like, and then there's visualizations, and he's like, these visualizations, like there's not really wood in me, like there's not really wood there, but like you're saying the visualization would be helpful. Like it's like it's like it's like it's like love. It's like emotions. Like you know that it's there, but you know you can't feel it or you can't see it. Actually, I'm definitely blending more than one thing that's reminding me of it. But let's just keep going. And Buddy's like, yeah, because it's like you just know he's like you're not explainable. So let's just keep going. Like appalled. Like what do you mean? Love is this thing that you can't feel. What's love without feeling? What is that? How do you, someone in the world believes that? What? I don't even want to say love is more than a feeling. If we're talking about sensation and like feeling, I can feel this. I've never not felt love. But some people use that word. Another example is Dear John or something like that, basically glorifying abusive relationships and sociopathy. But Buddy's like basically a sociopath. He doesn't have a heart. That's a thing. A lot of people don't. And by that I mean like a heart center, access to it, which means you don't have a heart. And you feelings aren't that accessible to you. And he's like, but he says he loves you. He's like, I love you. He's like, well, he says I love you. He's like, what? That doesn't mean shit. All you need is one instance of that person not being loving to be like, oh, you don't love me. Cool. Good talk. Peace out. It gets confusing when we do love each other and then we also still hurt each other. And that's tragic. When like suffering just ought to be, but is, that's tragedy. But there's no, I love you, but I can punch you in the face, man or woman. It's like, no, you obviously don't love me because that's not a thing. But I just like, no. So part of healing and coming back into harmony with each other is the recognition of the definitions that we want to use when we want to be honest and sweet and earnest. And love isn't love. The word is past tense always. As soon as you say it, you're talking about what you've been. Loving is the only love. What did I do there? And it's not even just possible. It's downright fucking probable. That you love someone for as long as you can love someone. And it turns out that that is eternal. Now I'm going to stay away from the dimensions, but I will say this. Marriage is dimensionally founded across spheres and like waves of time and incarnations of energy choices, like personalities, needs of the great cosmic one being met by archetypes of truth as us, each other, embodied, souled, and souled, you know? Like till death do us like till death do us part, do we part? I don't even know. Thank you. Till death do us part. Thanks. That's only so we can do it again. That's all that's referencing. And it's not a thing that needs to be remembered either, because marriage between a husband and a wife across time and space is the inevitability of the integrity of soul expression. It's like what I am and who I am inevitably and continuously through infinity is a refinement of whatever I'm choosing to be, and in varying degrees, because I'm not speaking, this isn't exclusively, it's just like a kind of likely, whoever I end up being every time ends up being like, I just get born where you get born, because what my vibration is, I just like your song. And the possibility of husband and wife isn't oneness to the loss of the two. It's almost like, and this touches on like twin flames, but twin flames in this way can also they don't have to be a lover, husband, wife, partner. But part of what's fucked up about this world is all the reflections, all the mirrors, all the time we spend. You can't hide from it. Looking at yourself. I don't need to look at myself right now. I don't need to see me moving on the screen, but it's big and fucking huge, and it's here. This is it, right? But aside from that, what the I am would see in its environment most consistently would be what I choose to love. So a part of husband and wife, a part of marriage, a part of this twin flame phenomena, which is again multivalent and still true, but I gotta say it with a fucking little tongue in cheek and sarcasm, because it's so like, oh my God. Like I can't stand all the like, oh, that's my twin flame, but like I can't like blah blah blah. Like, yo, you don't know your twin flame until you're on fire and they're on fire and you're one fire. It's not a choice you make, it's a choice you made. And it's not something you know until you're on fire. And even then, there's like more depth. Because I'm single, what's up? I'm not though. I'm really not. I'm married. Eternally. because my soul has seen her face and felt the most. If you break me into innumerable facets of personality, then like the hologram of my fractured existence is going to be so fucked and discombobulated that in essence, like the last thing before oblivion of isness is the height of my loving feeling. It's all I got left. It's all I am. And who that is knows itself by what I've seen. And because it's all energy and we can be together and still be separate, like two notes in a song. I don't even really know all of me. In fact, I don't even really know the best of me. She does. And I know the best of her. And in the realm of ephemeral love juice mingling, like that's how we can come to know ourselves even more completely. Like there's the us, there's the us that we know, that we believe ourselves to be, and we can recognize. But like, you know, like in love, and I mean even in like companions and friends like that, it's like you see a side of me that I don't maybe see. And it's what I aspire to see, but it's also what I can't see, because while I'm being all dashing, I'm not being dashing, I'm just being myself. But y'all like, yo, I'm being dashing. Like, I'm dashing. He's like, yeah, guys, like, sweet. Like, I'll remember that. Because the best me makes you smile the most. Because I don't know what life is, but I like that. That's harmony. We kind of jumped around a little bit, so I'm going to actually end with an examination of the etymology. Husband, husbandry. And by etymology, I'm also kind of just making it up with you. But I invite you to look it up, because I've done that. I just don't need to right now. Husbandry is the taking care of the livestock. It's taking care of the land. It's taking care of the court. Right? And then, so I'm like, a man isn't a husband. A man is his wife's husband. And a wife isn't a wife. A woman is her husband's wife. Now, when I hear wife, I hear life. Don't you? So, in the realms and spheres of influence and taking care, a woman's husband can be the one that kind of takes care of the beast. Mans the borders of their island, their island. tell that a woman thought of the name, like the title husband, because it's clever, and a wife, just a guy being like, woman for life. She's my life. Like if I'm tilling the courtyard, life with her is our home. Wife. And I'm not even like really being simple. It's like simplistic. I'm like, like this is how we can be really simple. It's kind of relieving, right? But and I'll close with this because now it's kind of personal, not personal, but it's like my take. In endeavoring this wild and crazy, like harmony re-singing, ascension, dissension, love, etheric, coarse mingling, life, love, all this craziness. Through it all, I've learned so fucking much. I've learned how to do, and if you'll receive this with like my fiercely earned self-esteem and like fucking carved out of myself, like resource of like I can do anything. I know how to do things. And like, I'm not saying necessarily the best at it right now, but I know how to be the best at just about anything. Period. You know, like a resource-based economy, check. So we got money, cool, check. Technology, want to clean the ocean, check. Wireless technology, check. Free power, check. Space, time, all of it, fucking check, check, check. I don't care though. I don't want to. I don't give a shit. I mean, I do, but not as much as you. If the you is like, would be like my wife. I'm like, that's like the yin, the in harmony. I can figure all kinds of shit out. How? I know how to do anything, but what to do? What is the wife? Maybe that's why we called. Maybe that's why we call it. Maybe that's why we titled it "Wife." It's like it's the what of life. You know, I know how to do anything, but what to do? There's like, so many different paths, and there will never be a better path than the one chosen by like the woman that I love. Because how, what, why? The why for everything is love. Because love. Because love. What love? How love. How we do anything is love. What we do is love. And so the why can't get more specific than that. Otherwise, you'd be diluting. But what and how does. And maybe I'll kind of close with this. in infinitude, manifesting anyhow, all of my give a shittedness is, and let me be selfish. All of it is for the way that I feel when she's in joy. The beauty of her everything when she's happy. And it's not a need to make happy. It's like the path. You just keep going. It gets better. Why not? Right? And in the realm of husband and wife, the what, like, I'm gonna say, like, we're not that important when it comes to what. It's like it's not the husband. It's the world. It's the earth. It's the children. Makes sense, right? Anything complicated, there's deception. Complex, though, anything beautiful is complex. But complex things can be simple. Complicated things are almost never beautiful. And marriage is beautiful. And the I do too is simple. But it takes us singing a different song. It takes us singing our own song. And then just like noticing like the different tunes that show up. You don't have to choose shit. In fact, you should be actively trying to resist. Because like magnetic attraction, I'm being simplistic, like from whatever distance away, if you don't resist those two things, they're going to slam into each other pretty hard. But take any potent attraction and match that potency with resistance, and then you'll have them come together gently, and they'll forever be apart and inseparable. The will to love, marrying that. Thank you for taking the time to listen to us and for believing in the goodness of you and your heart and your husband and your wife, whether they're in your life physically, astrally, in some other dimension or time, or how aware or not you are of the eternity of that relationship. Thank you for never letting go of that last knowing, when you couldn't know anything else, when you tried to not know that. for never forgetting their face, and never leaving, but always coming home. I love you. I love my wife very much. And I love you very much, even though you're not my wife, or you're my wife. I love you. Because there's an infinite amount of love to go around. And then we just choose how we exist with each other in those relationships. Yeah. There's more to be said, and every loving expression comes in time. Enjoy the rest of your everything. And we'll be together again here another time. Maybe. Be well. And namaste, which just means basically, I see love in you. And I see the love in you in me. So I must be love. Because you're love. And I want to love you. And I'm honored to. And oh my God, you love me. Thank you. A lot. Okay. Telefono. Bye. Love and peace.